Manchester City versus Arsenal. A title deciding game. Is it? Let me know your thoughts. This is right here, the big match preview, the Arsenal show, a call-in show, and we've got so much to talk about. We're going to be discussing the game itself, the importance for both teams, possible lineups, where the game could possibly be won and lost, and of course, and is it Arsenal's biggest game in 19 years since that game in Paris? Guys, we're going to get so much into it right now, and I'll hear your thoughts. Those of you, of course, this is an Arsenal related show and it is called the Arsenal Show, but you are welcome, if you are fans of any club, to come in and call in for this one. But let's get into it, people. Wagwan, everyone. I hope you're doing well and welcome back to Tariq Talks. Whew, I'm feeling it. The nerves are kicking in. I'm starting to feel it now. I will be honest with you. This game, whenever it comes to a big game relating to Arsenal, I do feel it, and it does take its toll on me mentally. I know it feels like I'm preparing for the game, but I think it's harder when you are a fan rather than when you are playing in these big games. And I'm not speaking from experience, but it's because you have no control over what happens tomorrow, and you are the one that probably faces the brunt of all the pain and the issues as well. Once we get in, if Arsenal do lose, we'll be the ones who face it and saying bottle it and look what you've done. Now you're finally out of the race after believing for so long, after really enjoying this season. This will be a massive low, and it'll be something that will be difficult to get over if the favourites in Manchester City do pick up the win tomorrow by any means necessary. And of course, how they win, if they do, would be massive. But the boost that this could give for the remainder of the season, if Arsenal were able to go and pick up the victory, it would be unbelievable. And it would arguably be the biggest win that I've ever seen in my life. But of course, people, we're going to get into it. We are going to get into it because I keep asking the question to you guys and myself: is it Arsenal's biggest game in almost a decade? And it's been more than that, nearly 2 decades. Is it? Oh, it's huge. It is massive indeed. And for me, it is because the Premier League title's on the line here. Premier League title is on the line. And when the Premier League title is on the line, we haven't been in these situations many a time previously. So we're going to have to take it. We're going to, if we are going to win this league, the game, is it going to be won and lost here? Psychologically, I think so. The boost that he could give, of course, Manchester City, if they win, it seems like they are in the driver's seat with, being 2 points behind us. They will be. Arsenal will still remain top no matter what happens in this game. But with 2 games in hand, the form Manchester City are in, the experience that they have in managing title races in this scenario, and don't tend to drop too many points at this stage. I think they do drop points, which is why a draw would be good for Arsenal and keep them in it. A draw is not a bad result. And guys, would you take a draw if that was offered to you right now? Let me know your thoughts, people. The link is now in here. Big up each and every one of you that are watching live as well. I'm just going to pin this link right at the top for you so that you guys can see it. And yeah, the lines are now open. And I'm here and ready for you to discuss. We've got other games happening on in the Premier League, both the top and bottom, of course. But we're going to have to talk about it. And we have got our first caller. He's a non-Arsenal fan, but he's a member of the channel that we've got right here. And he's a valued one. Big up my bro, UV. How you doing, man?
Good. I mean, for this game, obviously, I'm actually kind of hyped for it. But at the same time, Liverpool play. So I'm going to have to try and figure something out. So,
yeah, you got West Ham, haven't you?
Yeah, our season is relevant now. I'm not gonna lie, but yeah, I mean, I've been in this situation many times. Playing City is at Etihad. Oh, it's a difficult task. It's difficult because if you lose versus City, the title's gone. That's the scenario which you don't want. And we've been in this scenario, so look, it's gonna be hard. But look, if you believe, you never know, and we'll see what happens. We'll see. I mean, I'm excited for this game, but I think you're feeling nervous because it's your team. So.
Yeah, you literally being in this position just last season, where you played Manchester City at the Etihad. It was a must-win for Liverpool. If there was a win that was more important for the team, then it was you in that scenario. It's a bit different because you were in that position where you needed to, where you were chasing, you were the hunters chasing Manchester City, but you managed to grab a draw. But the points were lost elsewhere in that one, but. Do you think Arsenal can survive and take a draw going into this one here?
I think a draw would be a good result, just considering the form we're in. And Saliba's out. It's withholding potentially going to start. Unless Arteta changes. This is, for me, if Arteta changes, this will be his masterclass. But will he change? I don't know. It's the difficult. This is a test for Arteta. Can he change system? Can he risk it? So, yeah I mean, the centre-back situation is hard. Do you start... It's difficult. Let's see. I mean,
exactly.
We'll see who wins. We'll see.
Exactly. Big up Shay in the building right here.
What's
making
up?
his debut. How you doing, man? You okay?
Yeah.
Good. That's what I love to hear.
What's your score predictions tomorrow?
Well, initially, what I went for, my heart is going for a 3-2 to Arsenal. My head is telling me something else, and we'll get into that as we get into it. But big up yourself, Shay. How are you feeling for tomorrow?
Nervous.
Are you really feeling nervous? Yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah.
Who do you think's going to win?
Don't know. I'm thinking. I think it's going to be a 3-2 to the boys.
Yeah, you think 3-2 as well? That's what I like to hear.
Saka will score the last minute.
I love that.
If Saka does score, Saka's been off it recently. If he can score, that would really boost him, to be fair.
Yeah, exactly. And UV, this one I'm going to bring it back to you here. When we're talking about Arsenal's form recently, 3 draws. It kicked off against you guys when you came on the show for a little bit when we spoke about that one at Anfield. Arsenal being 2-0 up. And
I think we overlooked that one a bit because I actually thought it was probably Anfield, but maybe we actually overlooked it because once that goal went in, you just absolutely bottled that. Maybe it was a bottle because actually I thought it was just Anfield, but maybe it was. But then again, at West Ham, you were in firm control. If Saka scored that penalty, he probably would have been in control. Yeah. But it's not his fault. It's pretty much your whole team pretty much bottle. If you don't win the league, I wouldn't say it's a bottle, but it's a difficult one. I don't know. I mean, versus City, it's not really a bottle. If you bottle it versus this raising City side, it's not a bottle. But at the same time, you were 2-0 up versus West Ham. You were 3-1 down versus Southampton, and 3-3 versus Southampton is not good enough. I know you made that comeback, but you should be home banker. Should be winning that. But yeah, like I said, I've been in the situation. It's quite difficult to beat City at the Etihad. It's going to be a hard task, or even get a draw.
Yeah, I understand, and that's what I was going to say because the Anfield result in isolation isn't bad at all. If you're looking at it in that sense, if you're picking up 4 points home and away to Liverpool in a season, you're going to take that. Of course you are, and you move on. But when you couple it up with being 2-0 up at Anfield, to being 2-0 up at the Etihad, the Etihad, sorry. I hope that happens tomorrow if we get 2-0 up. Being 2-0 up at the London Stadium and then pulling behind in there, and you look at the nature of the goals. The first goal at Anfield, it was an error as well defensively, falling asleep, lack of concentration, which was, if you look at the goals after that, this literally been the same copy in terms of falling asleep, not being concentrated. Sorry, excuse me. I'm there in me falling asleep and not concentrating right there, but. Would you say, UV, that those results, if Arsenal, if you can't be dropping these type of points when you are coming up against this juggernaut of a Manchester City side?
It's going to be, like I said, it's a hard task. It's going to be probably a miracle. I wouldn't say miracle because anything's possible, but it does seem I favour City. I'm not going to lie. I think City win this game, but... Yeah. I do think people are writing Arsenal off a bit. Like people saying, "Oh, Arsenal, no chance," and that could be what you use because if you use that, because no one's expecting you to win, So if you could use that, no one expects you to win. You turn up, and I feel like that whoever wins that wins the league because that confidence levels will be high. And I feel like if Man City do it, they're gonna win the treble. If you win it, you are gonna win it. I think your confidence levels will be very high. So whoever wins the league, and that's it. But yeah, we'll see. Yeah, I think I favour City. I'm not gonna lie, but you never know. But I think people writing off Arsenal too much. Like they're going too far. It's like people saying City definite win 4-5-0. I don't think it'll be 4. I think it's just gonna be a tight game, but it's gonna be City just having the edge, the quality. They're just gonna have too much.
Yeah, exactly that. It is true. You know what? Well, let's get into it as well now, guys, in terms of the possible lineups that we'll see where the game can be won and lost. For Manchester City, you know, the injury news that they've got is Nathan Ake isn't looking like he's going to be fit and ready for this game, which for me, I believe it's a huge loss, especially defensively in how Manchester City have been defending of late. They've switched to this formation where they play like a flat back five in this. Well, it's not really a flat back five, but with centre backs playing across there, John Stones dropping into midfield, Ake on that left side, really covering that channel
like
in possession.
Inverted.
Yeah, for John Stones particularly, but you do see Akanji and Ake really stretch and go wide and defending those positions there. And then Ruben Dias taking up that central role. And then out of possession, you'll see go more into John Stones, Dias centre-backs, Akanji right back, and then Ake in at left back. But without him there, without the athleticism that Nathan Ake provides, I think that makes them a bit more susceptible in the transition, which if we have a look at the start of the season as well, UV and Shay, is that's where Manchester City were at their most vulnerable, where people started to think maybe Arsenal can win this league because Manchester City don't look as solid defensively. Ake's definitely been their best defender this season for me. But how much of a loss do you think that this could be for Manchester City, UV? Then we'll go to you, Shay.
I think they have Sergio Gomez, and I don't think he's played that much this season. I mean, they may have to change system. I don't know. Could Pep boil in another big moment? Because that's what he usually does. I don't think. I mean,
you think he possibly might overthink it? Is that what you're thinking, UV?
Possible. The way he's done it with Madrid last season. I mean, a lot of big moments. In the Champions League final versus Chelsea. I mean, it'll be a big loss, definitely. And I don't know. I mean, I still think City win without Ake, but it's going to be a harder. I think it won't be a easy game for City. It just won't. With Ake out, probably will be a tight 1-3-1 or something. Because, like I said, people are writing Arsenal off too early. And I think Arsenal could use that to, like, boost the players. And Arsenal need to turn up. It's just simple. If they turn up, you never know. So, yeah, Ake, I think, is a big loss. They're probably going to still stick with the system, but they're going to have to play Sergio Gomez or someone like that because it's going to be quite hard. So without Ake, it'll be a big task.
Yeah, of course, definitely. Massive task. And who do you think will come in to take in the place of Nathan Ake? Shay, are you familiar with this Manchester City team? And who do you think they will play in that position there?
I think Erling Haaland, of course, the ball.
Yeah, up top. Yeah, for sure. We'll get into him as well. But do you know who they will play defensively, Shay? Do you have any idea that who that you think they might play?
No.
Okay, then. Let's go. Who do you think they're going to play there, UV, in at the back?
I don't know any Man City players.
You don't know many? Okay, we'll save that for them for when you come into the Arsenal one as well. We'll definitely get into that and wait for you there. But big up to everyone that is watching here live as well. Hope you're keeping good and well. And if you're watching afterwards, make sure you smash a like on this video as well, people. But UV, I'm going to go to you. Who do you think they will play in cover of Nathan Ake in this position here? Let me zoom in so that
I'm looking at their team right now. They either have Sergio Gomez or Rico Lewis as the options I could see. They're probably going to choose Sergio Gomez. Probably Sergio Gomez, unless Pep wants to try something different, maybe like a Laporte. I mean, Laporte. I mean,
Doesn't Sergio Gomez seem like such a big risk for him to make his first start in a while in the Premier League?
Quite hard. That's the thing. That's where the headache comes. That's where a big headache comes with Pep, because I don't know. I mean, who's going to play there? It's going to be a gamble who we pick. It will be because Stones will play that inverted, whatever you want to say.
Yeah.
It's just about that. Maybe a country. I mean, it's going to be. I don't know who, man. It's actually going to be a big one here.
We'll bring in the main man of the place. I'm not sure if he's got his camera working, but you can hear us. Here he is. It's Wilf in the building, my regular co-host for the Arsenal show. How are you doing, my man?
What's happening? I'm good, man. I'm good. Had a wonderful weekend, and just looking forward to this. And yeah, I'm good. Glad to be on. Hi guys, how you doing? You all right?
Good.
Good. Yeah.
We've been in this situation many times, so we know what it's like. Don't worry. It's very nerve-wracking going to the Etihad. It's
yeah.
Not,
let's see how Will's feeling. So, Wilf, how are you feeling going into this massive game right here? And is it the biggest game in since the Champions League final for Arsenal? Do you think?
Yeah, probably. I'd have to say so. I mean, we've had FA Cup finals and stuff, but we've gone into there on a more balanced, more level playing field. But yeah, this is by far it's the biggest game for so many factors. For the fact that nobody expected us to be here. Nobody gave us a snowball's hell in chance of being here come the beginning of the season. Everybody's nervous. Everybody's saying it's been City's title since the beginning of the season, and everybody thought it wasn't gonna. It would have been a team in red, but not us. So yeah, without doubt, it's a massive game. It's the biggest game we've had in over a decade. But that said, I haven't changed my opinion on the fact that we can go to the Etihad and win. And I think if this game is the time of the last couple of seasons where we've gone to the Etihad or we played Man City, this is the one that can turn boys into men and put to bed because we've come close a few times, even the last game where we shot ourselves in the foot. But I strongly believe that we can do this.
Yeah, and if you do turn up, which I expect you to, you think you will. Surely you have to.
Yeah, they will.
I think
100%.
you could actually. I think you could actually. But I said this when you were off, right? People are writing you off too soon. It's just I guess saying, "Oh, the game's done early, Man City." You could use that to your advantage by just turning up, and without Ake, it could be a. I wouldn't doubt you guys to win. It's just about, I think, even when you're 2-0 up, can I still trust you to hang on? In recent weeks, I don't know. If you're 2-0 up versus City, for example, which is possible, I still don't trust you because of the way you've been playing the last few weeks. That's the concern. But I think people are writing you off way too soon. And you could use that to your advantage, you know? If people are writing you off way too soon, that's just a doubt.
I agree with that. I agree with that. But what I actually think is the last 3 games, or the games where we've been 2 up, I think is actually going to help us in this. Because if we go 2 up again at the Etihad, I don't think we throw it away. I really don't, because of previous games where we've been 2 up. This team does learn, and it learns pretty quickly.
It depends what Arteta does. It really depends what style he goes.
Is it down to Arteta? Would you say, UV?
Because I was just about to say that. I think it's down to the players.
When you look at the reasons why in our last 3 games why we've drawn games, it's not because of how Arteta set out the side. Because initially, with the Anfield and West Ham game, for us to go 2-0 up and start the game like that, I always got a saying in terms of football: how you start the game in the first 10 minutes is usually how the manager wants you to set out, whether it's in formation wise or even from an intensity standpoint. But how you manage the game afterwards, it's all about the individuals. That's where the manager has literally no control. It's how the individuals handle the bottle in terms of keeping their nerve, making sure that they're managing the game properly. And unfortunately, we weren't able to do that. And then with the Southampton game, when you start the game from a simple error like that, that literally no one can account for that. Right?
I thought you would actually win it from when it was like last.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, exactly. And that shows
if you won that, the mentality would have been different. If you would have won that game, you would have gone into this game. But then, you didn't win though. You didn't.
But that's where Wilf and myself, we do have hope going into this, because this team doesn't give up. They don't give up, UV. That's what we need. If you're ever going to be champions, you're going to need to have these You're going to have these games where it looks like you're down and out, and you shouldn't be losing to these types of teams. You even saw it last season on the same time that you played your final game against Wolves. They were 2-0 down up against Aston Villa. Happened against QPR the season that they won the league, and these games do tend to happen as well. So I think it's a good point that you raised right there in terms of that. But Wilf, I wanted to throw this to you as well, whilst you're having a go at this as well, and if there's anything that you want to say. But we were just mentioning Nathan Ake, right, and how massive that injury is for Manchester City. Do you think that it is as big as what I think it's going to be for Man City in terms of their stability in transition and defensively? Because he's been their best defender this year, hasn't he?
Yeah,
100%.
And big up EG whilst he's here as well, man.
Yes, you go. Big up, man. Big up to everybody in the chat. Actually,
exactly. Big up everyone.
I think it's as big as Saliba for us. I strongly do, because if you look at the games that like you said, Ake has been their most important defender this season, and without him they do struggle. He is that rock. He is Gabriel or Saliba or however he's one of their mainstays, and he was the deciding factor in the FA Cup game against us. That's a big loss for them. That for me, on paper, could be as big as a De Bruyne or a Grealish or a Haaland. It sounds a big statement to make, but defensively, that's where Man City's problems have come this season, and we've settled this season that defensively they haven't looked sturdy, and it's because of Ake that's kept them going.
And because they're left backs, right? I look at their left backs. They have Sergio Gomez and Rico Lewis, and them two haven't played all season pretty much. Can you rely on them in this big game? They haven't played, so that City have a dilemma as well. I think you don't have more because of Saliba out, but like City have as much as well, because without Ake they are not as great. That's been their problem all season. So yeah.
And another one is, do they bring back Kyle Walker for his pace?
Probably. I think they might have to. I think they will. They probably will, because
they do. Yeah, but if they do that, that means the system Pep has been wanting to play for the last few games, or has been playing for the last few games, that goes out the window, because he's come out and said Kyle Walker can't play the system that I want. So it means that they have to change their system if they bring in Kyle Walker.
Yeah, I mean, I think they could change system, and that could. It's difficult with City, man. It's actually harder than you think for City. They might have a big squad, but if you actually look at this, it's quite hard for City, because do they change system? Do they stick with this? It's Pep's decision. So, yeah.
Okay, so if you think that they could change system, who do you think comes in for Nathan Ake for this game?
They'll probably go 4 at the back. Probably. That's the only way I could see him playing. 4 at the back with maybe defense of
and then who still comes in at left back? Yeah, that's it. What was you going to say? Sorry.
Oh yeah, but then they may have to put maybe a Kanji as. I don't know. This is the difficult thing. I don't know what they're going to do. I'm
thinking, right, because we spent a bit of time on this now, so I'm going to pop someone here. I think it's Aymeric Laporte, right? Because he did play the last game as well as Sergio
apparently,
Gomez.
I was thinking that.
Yeah, apparently at the Emirates he played Bernardo Silva at left back.
Yeah, as Mr. 200's brought in here. Yeah, that is true. He did play Bernardo Silva at left back in the first half, but we watched that game and we knew Saka had the absolute roasting of him. I thought, and he was quite fortunate not to get a yellow card earlier on in that game.
And I think that first half is encouraging because you were the better side in that first half, but then second half you saw what City can do if
they made that change, didn't they, UV? They moved Bernardo from being at left back to his more comfortable right midfield position and being in that right centre midfield, linking up with Mahrez. So yeah, I hear what you're saying. And Wilf, why do you think it's going to be Laporte in at that left-sided centre-back position?
I just think experience-wise, Laporte has, especially was it last season he was one of their most important defenders, or the season before, I can't remember. But I just think if you got to rely on someone, you bring in someone who's got experience in that. I think, but playing Bernardo Silva there was an experiment that didn't work against us the first game. And you do that at home, and then if Silva's getting roasted, you have to move him. It changes too much dynamic in the game, and you can lose momentum that way. So that's why I think he'll put in Laporte just for Laporte's experience and knowledge and rely on him. But that said, Laporte hasn't been happy there because he's not been getting game time, and that brings its own risks.
Yeah, exactly. It's true. There is rumours about him potentially leaving at the end of the season with Aymeric Laporte, and this isn't the first time it's happened with Manchester City players where they haven't felt like they've had enough game time to really, warrant their stay in there at the club. But yeah, Laporte, he has been a key part of their defence for many a year now. And before he picked up that big injury, he had to carry, he was one of their most important players, but injuries seem to be the issue for him. Shay, is it okay if you could just pop the volume down on your TV for me, bro? Sorry, yeah, it's just that I can hear it, and yeah, the channel can get a copyright strike for that. Appreciate you, man. Thank you. So yeah, and also with that midfield, so we know who that's going to be in there. Two at the base in this new formation is Rodri and John Stones. Now this is where Arsenal it's gonna be a key battling right there, isn't it, guys? This man has been arguably the best defensive midfielder this season in the Premier League or in world football. In Rodri, so consistent, rarely gets dropped, and Calvin Phillips hasn't been able to get a game because of his consistency. And where Manchester City have been able to stabilise is by playing John Stones, getting him back into the side. Yes, he's lining up in a midfield position here, but this is what tends to happen when Manchester City have the ball. And without the ball, you'll see a Kanje drift out into that right back position. Stones just casually drops back into that centre back role there, and they tend to play a flat back five. But do you see that if there is any weakness potentially with this Manchester City defence, guys?
Probably Ake, the only one I can think of. The rest is like you can't complain really. The rest is just you got a robot.
I think adjusted, because remember, this system hasn't been played a lot this season. It's only very recently that he's dropped in Stones in there and played this. And I think you could take advantage of that in the fact that there could be some uncertainty in that system. And if there's a man that can suss out that uncertainty, suss out where the weak links is, I think it's Arteta.
And I think, if you saw our game versus City, which was after the international break when we lost 4-1, we actually were playing counter-attack versus them. And I think that's probably the style you go with. The counter-attack, that's the only way you're going to do them. Because you can't do football-wise. You're going to get bad football-wise. I think you should...
I don't think so. I disagree with the UV. Because...
we're not a counter-attacking team.
you have to look at how Arsenal have won a plenty of their games this season. We definitely can't counter-attack now with how we have the shake-up that we've had. You can't. It's harder to change that complete principles. What's been working for you, Liverpool? When you play Manchester City, you do not change. I'd say Man City more adjust themselves to you because of how intense that you've been. And yes, when it doesn't work, you get beat 4-1, 5-0, etc. But it's giving you more joy and more success than you changing up completely. So that's what I'm thinking in terms of this here. And also, I want to say in terms of a weakness is that we haven't mentioned it yet. Akanji. Right, because when I was watching that Bayern Munich game, the first leg in particular in the first half, when Bayern Munich were having a lot of their joy, there was actually attacking down Akanji's side. And we'll get into the Arsenal team and who we're going to play off the left. But that left winger has been probably our best player, even through this barren where we've not been able to win a game in the last 3. And that is Gabriel Martinelli. The trouble, the relentless energy that he's able to cause, the pacing behind, he will keep Akanji on his toes all game. And this
is what I'm saying about Pep might even consider bringing Walker back, because Gabriel Martinelli all season has been roasting man on that left-hand side. Even when he hasn't been playing, people was he's off it after the World Cup and all the rest of it. He's still been roasting man. He's still been giving man a hard time. And Pep will be worried about it. And I think Akanji, and depending on if whoever he plays in that little pocket inside Gabriel Martinelli, could give Akanji some serious trouble.
Yeah, exactly that. And Moss has also brought up the other point. If Sergio Gomez plays, he will get destroyed if Saka comes up against him. If Silva plays, please ref, be on this guy. Took liberties in the first match on Saka. Totally agree with you on that there.
Yeah, I think Saka's side will be harder. I think you're going to have to go on the left more, just because.
Ooh.
I mean, they're both good. I think you would rather go for Martinelli. The last 3 games, Martinelli's been probably your best attacker. He's been the one. But then I think you can target with the right, but I would probably say the left more. But you can target both. I think it's one of those ones where if you had to choose a side, you probably choose the left. But I think you could go with both as well, to be fair.
But Saka was at your peril.
Hey, with UV, man, don't trust me. Saka was quality against Southampton. He was brilliant. Yes, against Liverpool, he wasn't as effective as he could be, but you still saw he could have a moment like that, could switch to the game. You still saw, and he has that ability.
You could have won against us if Martin did that pass properly at the end. It would have been.
There you go. Do you know? And that's it. Our wide players are so dangerous, and they're our top goal scorers in this team for a reason. They are relentless how they'll play against you. And if Manchester City are having a weakness in that area where they're not really showing, they don't have that stability, Saka will prey on that. You saw it against Roman Parolles and Walker Peters, and Walker Peters is a relatively, a respectable, good Premier League fullback, but Martinelli and Saka had them both on toast. So that's what I'm looking at. We'll get into with the Arsenal team, and we've probably spent a lot of time on that. But then we've spoken about the midfield and the stability that they may have brought in there. And Wilf has brought up a good point. Maybe we'll see Walker come into this game because of that Martinelli threat. We'll wait and see there. So I popped in Walker in there for the time being. But then that front 5 that Manchester City play with, Shay brought him up earlier when we said Erling Haaland's going to be spearheading that attack. Then you're going to have De Bruyne in there. KDB. Let's have a look for him here. Where is he? KDB. Gundogan. Yeah. I think he's the man for me in that midfield, Gundogan, in terms of how he's able to let this system happen.
Jack Grealish, man, what's happened to him? He's turned into some Eddie. At first, he was a flop, but now he's actually turned into a better player. And that's with Pep really signing. At first season really don't go well, and it's the second season they bang. So. You know what? Grealish
this is why we have to give professional footballers time to adjust to a system, because when Grealish was at Villa, he was the main man. The team was built around him. Everything was through him. They played everything through him 100%. Yeah, they were a one-dimensional team in that respect. Is that if Grealish, depending on how well a game Grealish has, was to how well Villa played. He's come into a team where now he is a small fish in a big pond, and he has had to adjust his game. He has had to learn his game. He has had to learn how Man City play. Um, and now it's coming to fruition. But their forward lineup is the reason why you can't play. We could not play counter-attacking football on them. We have to go at them. We have to. It's gonna need to be a slugfest. Me and T love our boxing analogies. This is a slugfest. This is one that you you have in a phone box, and the referee just lets it go, and whoever's left standing is the winner. Um, you know, you look at
and
that
to relate
lineup
it,
and
I mean, I think the only way you're gonna win, I think it'll be probably a high scoring game. I don't think you're gonna. It's gonna be like a 3-2 or something, because I don't see Arsenal like defending. Obviously, you don't want to defend, but I don't see Arsenal just not conceding or more than like one goal, because City. I think it'll be a very high scoring game either way. But I think if you're gonna win, you're gonna need a bit of luck, because versus City you do need a tiny bit of luck, and you're gonna need and high scoring, and you need to defend well. Like if you don't defend well, you know what's gonna happen. You need to defend well. And that's why obviously we're gonna dive more into the Arsenal lineup, but it's just gonna be interesting to see, because you do need to defend. You can't defend how you did the last 3 weeks. Definitely, you have to defend. I think you will defend better, but it's gonna be interesting. This one. It's gonna be high scoring either way.
Of course,
I
definitely.
actually
And
think the last. Oh, go on, T.
No, what was you gonna say? Carry on, bro.
I was going to say that I think, weirdly, the last 3 games might have done us a favor. Is that wake-up call going into this game? Because had we got favorable results and we had this cushion and whatever, I think we would have gone into that game subconsciously thinking it doesn't matter what we do, we can lose here and whatever. But having to go at a game the way we're going to have to go at this game,
it could either be a blessing or it could either be a blessing or it could be a down, because it could work.
I think it's going to be a blessing,
because last 3 games, I don't think it's been like you being. It's just been you guys being arrogant, just thinking, "Oh, we're gonna win 2-0 up versus West Ham, comfortable." Didn't really. It seemed like you didn't care. Like, obviously, you did care, but like you just thought 2-0 game over. But then West Ham scored, and they put the pressure. I think it's just been you guys being arrogant. If you stopped that arrogancy, you would have probably beaten us, beaten West Ham. Southampton, you would have probably battered if you went that game not as confident as you were.
I don't think it's arrogance. I think it's lack of experience, because I think at Liverpool, the Liverpool and the West Ham games are 2 totally different games at 2-0 up. Yeah. 2-0 up, no Arsenal side has been in that position at Anfield for the best part of a decade. And they didn't know how to control the game. Yeah. With the intensity of the crowd and everything else. And what happens in those situations is, again, it's a boxing analogy. You're winning a fight and you get thumped, you get hit really hard, and something does to your body chemistry, and you need to fight that to go past. Yeah, because you start to get jitters. And I think that's what it is jitters rather than arrogance. I don't think this is an arrogant side. The West Ham game, I think when we went 2 down, we're going, we're sort of 2 up again, and we've done it again. Again, it's the jitters. And we're like, okay, because we don't want this history to repeat itself so much. You tighten up and you start, you're not letting your football flow like you should, as you were at the beginning of the game.
Yeah.
And then
now, guys,
with this Southampton game, I think we put.
I just want to try and keep it focused onto the Manchester City game for now, because we've spoken
I'm sorry, I'm
that.
getting there. I'm getting there. The point I'm making is it was a lack of experience, but this time going into that, I think they've handled all those situations. So if we found ourselves 2-0 up, I said this before, if we find ourselves 2-0 up at the Etihad, I think we win this game.
And that's why you're going to need leaders like Partey, Xhaka, even Jesus and Zinchenko, who have been here before. So you're going to need them, and probably Partey and Xhaka more because they've been experienced with this. I think you're going to definitely need experience in this game, because if you don't have the experience and you're going to be under the cosh most of the game, because Man City are going to go all out. You're going to need leaders like Partey and Xhaka, and probably Zinchenko, Jesus you can include. So if you can get those leaders in, I think you do get a result at City. But leaders need to step up this game. They definitely need to.
Right. Let's talk about Arsenal now. Let's get into how we think this team is going to line up. Right.
I think all our players need to be on it.
I want to ask you now. Definitely in a game like this, you can't have any weak links at all, because they'll take two heavyweights, relating it back to boxing, and both heavyweights have a knockout punchers in there. They've got so many tools in there. Arsenal, pardon pun, but definitely going to be an issue for both sides here. But for the Arsenal team, there's been a lot of talk surrounding now. What does Arteta do? Does he continue? Does he stick? Does he twist? I want to hear your thoughts, guys, first. So we'll start off with you, Wilf, then we'll go over to you in terms of this UV.
100% we stick. I don't think it's time to change up systems and change mentality and all the rest of it. I think Arteta's thing is we play our football and see where it leads us at the end of the season. I think we will play Man City as we played Liverpool, as we played Southampton, as we played Tottenham, as we played whoever you are in the league. We will play our football. If we do anything other than play our football, we will come unstuck. And the team and the manager know that we've come close the last few times we played them. They beat us by a goal in the odd goal in the FA Cup. The last time we played them, I think they go there. And if I was Arteta, I was saying, we've come close up until now. This is the time where we take it over the line. We show them that we're the new kids on the block, and they must fear us.
I hear that totally. What about you, UV? How are you looking at this? Do Arsenal stick or twist in terms of any changes for this one?
You only need to change something, not a formation or anything, just a little tactical change. Like if you see us, we put Trent in that midfielder, not the exact same, but just a little tweak. Not too big, just a little tweak. And I think you go rock with that, because I think you may have to play holding. And I think he's been all right. Like he has cost you. But then I think in that first 30 minutes versus us, he was actually all right. And I think he's been, if you play Partey in them more, I think you'll be fine. I think you just need to do a little tweak, but not too big tweak. It's just a little tweak, not too big. But.
Question, UV. How do you think holding has cost us?
Oh, he's cost you massively. It's
no, it's
because I think the narrative, like fun enough as you mentioned Trent, I think he's been scapegoated a lot, and people are going, it's holding. As a team, we've played well. And I don't think holding he hasn't made any glaring mistakes. The Southampton game, that was Ramsdale, it was this, it was that, and the other. There were players that weren't playing up to the level that they have been playing all season. There are, nerve factors and all the rest of it. And I don't think anyone can point at a one particular time where holding has cost us a point or a game or a goal or, you know what I mean? So I really, this narrative of holding costing us, I think it's just something like Trent's a bad defender. Trent's not a bad defender. but he's having a bad time. I think is he Saliba? No, but then again, who is? Yeah, how many people got a Saliba in their team?
Yeah.
Even Man City ain't got a Saliba in their team. They got a bunch of good defenders, but they haven't got a Saliba and Gabriel. So he's obviously going to be a big miss.
Oh, yeah. I just think you just missed Saliba. I don't blame Holding as much, but I think you just missed Saliba, that presence. But
yeah, that's a more accurate thing to say rather than Holding has cost us in any.
Yeah, like he's not the same. Holding doesn't feel the same vibe right with Saliba, but I feel like it's not just Holding that's cost you recently. It's been the whole team. Partey being a bit sluggish. You got Xhaka, I don't really blame Xhaka. I think he probably did get the Anfield crowd up, but I don't think it's all his fault.
No. This. And just on the Holding point, what I'll just say here is because I think Wilf is right and is right. The facts in there is too much scapegoating going around Holding. I've spoken about my thoughts in terms of how Arsenal defend with Holding. There's a difference there, and we don't look as stable. But if you have a look at the goals that we conceded, only the second goal is where I can say to Holding, right, this is what you should have done better in this situation against Southampton. Other than that, the other goals, it's not really to do with Holding. In any sense, and he's definitely far from the main man culpable with the other goals that we've conceded right there. So, and Arsenal, in terms of going forward, how we're playing, we're still looking scintillating going forward in certain goals that we scored. Look at the 2 goals we scored against Liverpool. Rob Holding's playing in that game. Look at the 2 goals we scored against West Ham. Rob Holding plays that first pass for the first one to Erdegaard in that game. And then looking at the 3 goals against Southampton that we scored, Holding's still on the pitch in that game. So there is a lot being met I think maybe when you're talking about in isolation for tomorrow night's game, I understand that because the level of opposition is just increased even higher. And of course, who's coming up against, even Saliba may struggle.
I think how I describe Holding, he's done some good moments, he's done some bad moments. Literally, one of those, I describe just Holding as that. I don't blame all of them.
When you say moments, can you name more than one for Rob Holding in these couple of games? I don't think you can.
I mean,
this is where what I will say, and this is I'm sure Wilf agrees with me. There is a narrative on social media that social media will make you believe in certain things and make it seem true. If enough people say, "Oh, it's got to be right," that's what we do sometimes. But have a look at it for yourself, and always look at it and think. Right, and challenge everything, even whatever you think. This is what I always try and do to myself. Always challenge what I think. What may look on the eye, have a look and say, but is it true? Because you'll learn a lot then. And you'll even when you look at Thomas Partey's performance, right? If you have a look at Thomas Partey's performance against Southampton, social media and certain incidents will make you believe he was terrible. He's terrible. And I even said it myself. I said his form dropped off like a cliff. But if I look at that game and the amount of responsibility that Thomas Partey had, that's almost an impossible job. He's playing as a right centre back, and this is where, when we talk about Holding, our build up is we're not as good in the build up because Saliba is an elite ball player, one of the best ball playing centre backs out there at the moment, and that's where it's more of a credit to Saliba than a diss to Holding, in that sense. But with Thomas Partey, he's having to cover in there. He's missing his main general midfield partner in Xhaka, who helps him a lot, and coming back and defending in there. And he is left isolated, even in those scenarios where against West Ham, he usually he would have Zinchenko at least tucking in there, playing the balls through, and then Arsenal break and have a chance. He's doing a lot of work in there. And if you look at the majority of the game, he did a good job, apart from when he decided to shoot in the 98th minute.
I've seen on social media that you try and play Jorginho and Partey at right back. That's what I'm hearing. That's a new thing where you don't have to play Holding. So you have Partey at right back, Ben White and Gabriel and Zinchenko. I think that would go wrong. That would terribly go wrong just because of the fact that right back, you need to defend Benny Mahrez and stuff. I don't think Partey. I mean, I've seen that on social media. I don't think that would work. That would probably just go downhill straight away. You probably get bad.
That's an experiment for another time, not now.
Yeah, you should have tried it versus Southampton. No offense to Southampton, but you need to try it at someone. I think that would have been a great opponent to try against, to be fair. But it's too late now. Stick with the system you got. See what happens. Just whatever happens, happens.
But as Luke puts in here, this is what I mean. Like, Holding is okay in a low block. He can't play in a high line. It's Arteta. It's on Arteta for continue to ask him to do so. But then, what I challenge to you, Luke, is how many goals have been conceded through Holding playing a high line? That are all the goals that we've conceded. Have we even, apart from Darwin Nunez's opportunity where he was played in behind on that area there, and that wasn't really Holding's fault. Apart from that, I've not seen many chances being caused by playing a high line. Once again, narratives will make you believe things that aren't actually true. Holding is not as good at recovering, and our line hasn't actually been higher. If you look at it statistically, I do recommend people always try and use statistics to back your what your thoughts are, because we have been defending 5 yards deeper. 5 yards deeper since Rob Holding's come into the team. So we have adjusted, and Arteta has adjusted. So we're not going to completely throw up and change our principles and defend like Spurs, who are much worse than us defensively, by the way, with arguably some people might say, Christian Romero and want a better centre backs.
Romero is the most. I swear, Romero is so overrated. I swear.
Yeah, but look at how we're defending as a team. Apart from these moments of errors, and that's where Wilf is saying lack of experience, where we're being complacent. We shouldn't be conceding this amount of goals. Only in that Liverpool game was where we came up against a team that had more expected goals than us. That's the only time. And Rob Holding played against Crystal Palace. He played against Leeds. There was no issues there. But that's when the pressure has been the difference. What would you say on that point about Rob Holding there, Wilf?
I mean, but you've just hit the nail on the head. We haven't. I mean, he's been highlighted because he's Rob Holding. Yeah. Most of our goals have been of our own making, like the Southampton game. Yeah, because there's no current. That first goal in the first minute or however long it was, that's nothing to do with Rob Holding. That, if anything, that's Ramsdale, because Holding was open. He was there for the ball, and he could have gone to Gabriel at the left. He was forcing a ball, and this is that inexperience that I was talking about. When you're forcing something rather than playing percentages. Rob Holding is a very good defender. He's not the best progressive defender coming forward when you're attacking, but the boy can defend. We're talking about Man City. That first half against Haaland, he battled him. Haaland didn't score that game. Yeah, it's Ake that scored that game. Haaland was on for practically the whole game. And nobody's talking about how with a defense with Rob Holding in it, Haaland, the monster, the animal, the Terminator, didn't score. That's Holding playing, not Saliba. And so many games, and I've seen Rob Holding make some great tackles. His positional play, his ball progression has improved so much. So it surprised even me, which I rate him. When I say I rate him highly, as a squad player, I rate him highly, and he comes in and he's a professional and he does his job. And this is the kind of thing. It's like before the game starts, before every game Rob Holding has played, he's been at full. Yeah, before the game has even started, people are like, we can't go to Anfield with Rob Holding. We can't go to here with Rob Holding. We can't go to this game with Rob Holding. We went to Anfield and didn't lose. Yeah, we went to West Ham and didn't lose. And as you said right at the beginning, yeah, these games, if we had had a draw last season and a draw at West Ham last season, people would be going, that's a bang up result. But because the dynamics have changed what we're going for, I don't think Rob Holding would be the problem. And if City go into that game focused on trying to get Rob Holding, they're going to come a cropper. So, and this is another thing that Lucas brought up about Partey being poor. Partey hasn't been poor. He's made a couple of mistakes, and by his high standards, it seemed like he's had a poor game.
And you saw, like, remember remember the home game where you lost 3-1. You didn't have Partey, and you did not. You lost that, right? That second half, Man City were all over you. If you drop Partey, you basically lost just fine defensively. I think you need, if you're gonna win, you definitely need Partey in there, because Partey will be adding that defensive cover, and he has some long crosses. I know he has some attacking about him as well. So without Partey, I think you don't win. I think you have a chance with Partey. Partey needs to start. I know it's important. That's actually, it's just been fucking mistakes in this week. If he just stops that, he's going to be back to Partey, and like, you may have a chance.
Yeah, exactly. And big up Manny in the place right here. How you doing, man?
Yeah, all good, son. All good. I mean, I've been meaning to come on your channel before. I don't know if I have. It might have been a long time since you and I were on a stream together, but big up to you, big up to Wilf, and Yuvraj, big up to you as well. I've seen you comment on a friend of mine, Old School Gunners videos, so good to meet you in person as well. I think I just want to sort of piggyback of what's been said about Holding and Partey, and I think the huge Holding in or out debate has been one of the biggest issues on social media. With several people making it crystal clear that with Holding coming in, it means that because Saliba is everything that Holding can never be, and Saliba's out injured, as you said, Tariq, we've had to defend a little bit deeper, and obviously we've had to try to accommodate him. But Wilf has also hit the nail on the head by saying that Holding has not really been to blame for the goals, with the possible exception of being, the penalty which was conceded by us, but which was in any way missed by Mohamed Salah. So, that sort of, I wouldn't necessarily say exonerates him, but at least it's, we have to accept the fact that with the injuries we have and the fact that our squad is so bare thin, and I don't want to go on a negative, rant right now, we have to make sure we make the best of what we have. And it's the same thing over again as it was last season, with injuries taking their toll near the end and some of our players having to step up and perform with mixed results. But we have to put our faith in Holding. We have to at least ensure that he does his job as well enough. And we can't expect him, given his lack of action this season, to be willing to take on that dynamic role that Saliba would normally play, because he's hardly played any minutes, and so he can't be incorporated into the system or integrated immediately. So that's a bit harsh. It's even just every bit as harsh as criticizing Kieran Tierney for his performance against West Ham. I thought Tierney actually had a really fine game defensively. Had it not been for that last-ditch tackle against Jared Bowen, we would have lost that match 3-2. And he wasn't really to blame for Bowen's equaliser, because that ball caught everyone napping. And I don't think Tierney was actually supposed to be marking Bowen. It was Gabriel who was supposed to. But at his best, Tierney is an outstanding left back. He just isn't really well suited to playing that kind of inverted role, because the last time he started was in the FA Cup against Manchester City. He played as a proper orthodox left back and had Riyad Mahrez in his pocket. So it just goes to show that with certain players, you need to make sure that you play to your strengths, and you can't just shoehorn players to play into the system which you think will work, especially given, as you will all agree, that this high-rise system with inverted fullbacks is a high reward, but also a high-risk system. And we've reaped the rewards against teams which, quite frankly, are nowhere near our caliber. But against better teams this season, our system has been dismantled. You take a look at Eric Ten Hag, who gave a tactical masterclass on how to demolish that system by basically suckering Arteta into playing that high line. And then, of course, with Christian Eriksen and the team pinging those balls over the defence, it was a question of, whether or not somebody would run on the end of them. And, of course, with Rashford in hot form, that was the case. So I want to see a little bit of tactical evolution, a little bit of tactical adjustment from Arteta for this game, because he now knows with the personnel that he has, he's got to make some changes. If he plays Alexander Zinchenko tomorrow, given his defensive frailties, it must be said, I'm sorry, but there's no way that I can really countenance that. I know that maybe you and Wilf might disagree, but I just wanted to come and say my piece. And I'm really sorry for joining in late. I just saw you were live, but big up to you for keeping the link open, and thank you for having me on.
No,
I really appreciate
it. Facts, man.
I think that's excellently well said as well.
And I think if you've seen what we're doing recently, I mean, we're doing we're playing Trent in that inverted role.
basically 3 at the back, basically. But I think you should do like you can play Tierney and Zinchenko together. You could try that because one defensive, you got that defensive cover, and that inverted role, which will be that Zinchenko. So I think you would try. I think that would work. It would really work with them too because you got defensive and attack.
It could. Yeah, it could work. I get what you're saying, Yuvraj. In fact, Tierney plays that role for Scotland, where he's by far the more defensive of the left backs in comparison to your skipper Robertson. But of course, when you take a look at the Scotland-Spain match, where he skinned Real Madrid's Dani Carvajal, that was a sight to behold. I would like to see Arteta do that, by the way. It would be nice to play 5 at the back and, at least show some signs that we are willing to try and nullify the City front three. But again, it remains to be seen. Will he waver from his path? I don't know.
I think again, I don't think this is the game to do that. That's a preseason thing that we work in the preseason as another option, another tool in the golf bag. But I really now is not the time to make drastic changes. I get what you're saying, and I would love to see that myself. I'd love to see Zinchenko, Partey, Odegaard midfield, and Tierney in that back four. But this isn't the game to do it. I think we stick with the girl that brought us to the dance. You know what I mean? You leave with the girl that come with the dance. That's what's got us here. Whether we go on and win it or we don't, I think we will stick with the way that we're playing.
And whatever happens.
Yeah, and this is where I wanted to. This is where I really wanted to have the debate because, right. So Manny said right there that we something needs to change given what we've seen in our last few games, and he'd be liking and encouraging to see Arteta to make those changes. Whereas Wilf is saying stick. This is where I'm stuck in a dilemma because I feel like we're gonna need to make a change up against Manchester City because of how our system has been, affected by injuries. And Luke's popped in here. We've only got 2 injuries this season in terms at the moment, and our season is falling apart. It's a repeat of last season's poor run of results. As I've said previously, in terms of this, Luke, it's because we've picked up injuries in the same area, 2 injuries in the same area, which I feel like if that is the case for any other team, Manchester City, if they lost Kyle Walker and Akanji, they would. And bearing in mind, they are the best squad in terms of dealing with those injuries at the defence. Yeah. I think their performances will suffer as well for the length of time that we've had ours. So, yes, I think that calls for an adjustment because Benjamin White is having to play every game. I think he's going to have to do that, and he's going to have to. And when we've seen him pick up yellow cards, especially, he's been a lot more passive because of how vital he is. Yeah. Our right back, who's been on the bench covering for him, is literally just played tonight, I think, in the FA Cup U final. So most likely he's not going to be available to play. So we are quite bare and thin in that area. Rob Holding, as Will's pointed out before, is not even our second choice defensive centre back in there. That might be either Ben White or a Tomiyasu that would even go in there ahead of him in that sense. So this is where Will saying stick, Manny saying twist, Luke is saying in here as well, stick or twist, the old age dilemma. I'm thinking at the moment I want to see a change. And I would like to see 3 centre backs.
Yeah, do that.
Yeah, good.
I'll try 3 at the back. Just try it. Like 3 at the back. You have Zinchenko in that inverted role. Tierney, the back three of Tierney, Ben White, and Gabriel.
So
I think we make slight adjustments. If there's any change, which I'm with you, Tariq, about seeing change. But 2 things. One, Manny made a really good point on towards when he first come on towards, there's 2 injuries and whatever. But it's something we've been saying since last season that our squad depth isn't the greatest. Yeah, and when does that come about? When you have injuries. So saying, we've had 2 injuries and we're going like last season, there's no comparison to last season because last season we weren't challenging. We were challenging for top 4, not the title. Yes, they may just be 2 injuries, but as you put out, Tariq, 2 injuries can scupper even Man City. And
in
the
the
point
same
Manny
area.
said, yeah, and in the same area could scupper Man City. And the thing is, we don't have the squad. We added to it in January as we could, as we were able to, and this is who we got. This is who we got now. Yeah, because if we didn't have those injuries, we wouldn't be having this conversation. And you can't have that as a yardstick to beat us with, because we've addressed a lot of um back deep injury deep squad issues as best we could when we could.
Yeah.
Come the summer, we will address it again. And big up my man King, I hope
And
everything's
big
cool.
big up
Yeah,
our brother King in the chat as well.
yeah, big love, big love. But it's we this is something that's been hit at us all season. If we get injuries, if we get injuries, if we get injuries, we get in these injuries, and we're struggling, and people want to hit us with it. I told you, if we get these injuries, like, that's what happens in football. That's what happens in football. Unless you get fortunate injuries, you deal with them the best way you can. I Going to your point, I think adjustments need to be made, but the adjustments need to be a mental adjustment in the players rather than too much tactical. Yeah, changing around the formation and all the rest of it. We stick with what we got. Um, we get our mentality right, because that's what's going to get us through this game. Our mentality. You can play all the different systems that you like, but if the mentality isn't right, if you don't go in there believing that you can win, believing that you can take the 3 points, and I wouldn't take a draw. I want 3 points, because that wholeheartedly puts it back in our hands.
Because you still gotta go to Newcastle, face Brighton,
Brighton,
Chelsea. I know
Chelsea.
Chelsea will turn up. I think Chelsea
Yeah,
will.
they of course they will, of course they will. But even if they don't, we still have to go. And what the last two games have proven, it's not just the big games you have to turn up for. You have to turn up for the little games. I mean, no disrespect for
The
the teams that
relegation.
are
The
far.
relegation
Yeah,
teams are not easy.
you need to turn up. This is the business end. This is why Man City are where Man City are. You turn up to every game like you're playing a final.
Yeah. I want to throw this now across to Manny. What do you want to see in our defense going into this game, Manny?
Yeah, I am obviously a little bit biased because, it's not that I had necessarily anything against Zinchenko personally, but I just think that we need to make sure that we have a left back who can properly defend. Because again, I don't. I'm pretty certain that Guardiola is going to employ a 4-3-3 now, because I think he's not going to stick with the idea of a 3-4-2-1, which could very well be picked apart by Martinelli and Saka on the wing if they get the space. Because that leaves them really very weak along the flanks, and you can't expect De Bruyne and Bernardo Silva to do backtracking and play as wing backs. It just doesn't make sense. So it will probably be a back four, and the prospect of Kevin De Bruyne and whoever will be playing on the right, it could be Riyad Mahrez, possibly bombing down and really.
Even Bernardo Silva. Even Bernardo Silva.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I was saying that Bernardo Silva, because Silva normally plays on the left though, and De Bruyne occupies the right. And I'm not really comfortable with the prospect of having them come down that left side, because if they're fast, if they're just that little bit faster, mind you, and we don't have the speed to be able to pick them up, we're asking for trouble. And that's why I'm not too keen on having Jorginho play, because he was signed as cover for Thomas Partey. When Partey's on his game, he obviously has more in terms of the variety he offers and how and his on-field coverage, whereas Jorginho is more of a patient player who can certainly, I wouldn't say slow the game down, but he does control it very well. But that loss of speed can prove fatal. So it will invariably lead to the need for a faster defender to come back on that left side, and therefore that would be perfect for Kieran Tierney to slot in that left back position. I don't know what the situation is with Granit Xhaka, because he was ill, I believe, for the West Ham game. I don't know if he's recovered in time. If he has, then he would possibly, come in. I would. And of course, Odegaard being the captain means that he has to play. And the big problem, of course, with them having Tierney in that team is that, where would Zinchenko play, and who would you tweak the midfield for? Who would you remove from the midfield to get Zinchenko in? So it's a catch-22 situation. I would like to see Tierney start the game, though, to at least start to nullify the City attack. Because one thing we see about City, mind you, is that the longer they go without being able to get a shot on goal, the more frustrated they can be. And we've seen that in some of the games they've played, notably the home loss against Brentford, the away draw against Nottingham Forest. They can be frustrated quite easily if the defence is on point. And so if they start to get really angry and start to throw the kitchen sink, that's when you can possibly take Tierney off at the hour mark and bring on Zinchenko, who can, add to the midfield, and you can have that sort of an inverted play with people coming back to defend, if you like. For me, it's all about stifling, because I do not want to see City start the game at breakneck speed, run up a 3 or 4-0 lead. In short, I don't want to see what happened to Spurs against Newcastle happened to us, although it must be said that our defence is much better than that ridiculous back four that Stellini put out. And I think that supports your point, Wilt. If it isn't broken, don't try to fix it.
The first 20 minutes are important. If you if you can, I think the first 20 minutes just don't try and attack, but just don't concede. The first 20 minutes you just can't concede. Get through that first 20 minutes, and then I think go take more risks, because I think the first 20 you've got to get the crowd down and don't let City score. Otherwise, what I think City will probably just turn that heat up. So the first 20 minutes are key. Just don't concede that first 20 minutes, because you know what City will do. If you do that.
I like that. And that's why I'm actually in favour of having the 4-2-3-1. Apart from Tierney, the back four picks itself. Obviously, Ramsdale in goal. And then, of course, you'd have Partey and Xhaka. Odegaard would be playing the number 10 role in the middle, with Martinelli on the left, Saka on the right, and Jesus up front. I've realised that we've been playing more of a front three of late, but at the beginning of the season, when Jesus was fit, he was leading the line, and we had moved to a back front three to accommodate Eddie Nketiah, if I'm not wrong. But now that Jesus seems to be back fitter, he seems to be scoring a few goals. I think putting him up front will at least give him a position where he can be a little bit more dangerous in a way. But also, when you have a defensive midfield and an attacking midfield, at least that will go some way to stifling City's 4-3-3. That's just my opinion.
I understand, and I'm popping it on here for you right there. The key players, definitely. I agree with you there going into this game. And if Xhaka is fit, are you starting him as well? Is that correct?
Yeah, if Xhaka is fit, I will start him. But if he isn't fit, I would bring Zinchenko there, because he is left-footed, and that left side of the defensive midfield would be his position, and he would be instructed: thread your passes, but stay in your place. Do not attempt to go walkabout unless it really is possible for you to do so. So I like that starting lineup.
I'll go to Zinchenko in that inverted role, but then again, it's kind of a risk just because you haven't done this before.
This is where I understand with Manny's pragmatism going into this one, because naturally I like to think of that when we're travelling away from home, is to show a form of pragmatism, especially against the champions and the form that these guys are in, and how we've been conceding goals of late. But Wilf, I want to ask you this, because how do you feel? Would you start Kieran Tierney in at left back in this game, or would you stick with Zinni? Oh, you're on mute. You're on mute, bro. There you go. Unmuted. Oh, there you go.
Is that better? Yeah. Sorry about that. I would stick with Tini at left back. Because of when he was saying, and we did in the afternoon show, what Trent gives Liverpool going forward and why they stick with him. I would stick with Zinni. If Granit Xhaka wasn't fit, I would put Trossard in there. We're forgetting that we've got Trossard there to stick in front of Partey, and that man works. He works going forward. He works when you don't have the ball. You don't have the ball, and he gives us that. He gives us a more dangerous threat in that front five.
Because I think Trossard adds something different. Like he will add because I think they know how to play versus Jesus City. You would, if they do know, you would like to have Trossard, who they don't know how to play against, and he would add like that link up. And what a signing, by the way! You only went for 21 million. He's turned out to be a bargain, by the way. Just brilliant signing. And I think I was starting today. But do I think Arteta will? Probably not. But this is probably our ideal line. Well, your ideal line. But I'll start Trossard just because it depends if Xhaka's fit or not. If Xhaka's not fit, try Trossard. If Xhaka's fit, then play Xhaka.
I hear that. Let me just bring in our brother Mohammed in here. Thank you for joining us, Mohammed. Hope you're keeping well. It's been a while since we've been able to chat. So we are wrapping this up soon. So yeah, this is the last caller that we'll take in. But Mohammed, I want to ask you two questions. Talk to me how you're feeling about this game, and we've just had our 11 up here with one player missing, but we're going to pop Holding in there. Would you make any changes? So how are you feeling about this game, and would you make any changes going into it?
First of all, hi Tariq, hi guys. Long time Tariq since I've been here with you, so it's a good chance to be with you, my friend. Of course, all of us are anxious, maybe worried concerning our recent results and performance, especially defensively. Which appeared in Liverpool, West Ham, and Southampton matches. So clearly, City are the favourites form-wise. Concerning also the match at the Etihad, because we all know recent years we had very poor record there. Big match. It will determine the shape of the title. We are now in a weak position. City are the favorite, but we must fight. We must fight tomorrow. At least if the results, we hope also first to have a dream day. I think if we want to win or a draw, our players must perform at 100% at their level, not 90, not 85, because City are now 12 wins in a row in all competition, in a fantastic form.
Again,
this form for City wasn't 3 months ago or 4 months ago. Now they hit the form. Depth-wise, they are better than Arsenal. If I compare Arsenal with City, just 2 points. First of all, defensively, they are better. We are shaky defensively, and if I analyze why, 3 reasons. Okay, Saliba absence is one reason, but I think the winning form for Thomas Partey in the last matches are a key point that our defense is shaky, because Partey is the shield in front of them, and we were praising Partey for his performance most of the season, but in the last matches, no. He gave away the ball, which led to the corner for Southampton, third goal. He gave away the penalty against West Ham. He was very shaky, and it's worrying. Third point, Zinchenko. Zinchenko is a class player. I like him. He added much quality to our squad with this inverted role that Arteta wants to play, but Zinchenko defensively is worrying, is weak. Look at Arnold, how he passed the ball between his legs and crossed the ball for Firmino. Look at the corner, the third goal for Southampton. He left his man. He didn't mark his man, and he scored the goal. So I think these 3 reasons, from the main key reasons why we are shaky defensively. So City defensively, they are very strong. It's difficult to score in their net because they didn't commit errors, Ederson or their defense or their midfield. So we must be very clinical tomorrow, very clinical and concentrated well to score and to hit Ederson net. And of course, offensively, they are very clinical. Of course, Haaland, but there are many players that provide Haaland with the balls. De Bruyne, Bernardo. Now, De Bruyne is not the same De Bruyne at the start of the season. De Bruyne now hitting his form. Bernardo, fantastic. Jack Grealish in the last 2 months at the peak of his form for me. Jack Grealish. Of course, Rodri is a consistent top player in midfield. So they are a strong team. But for me, we must not fear them. But in the same time, don't commit any error, any silly error. Don't give the ball away in the midfield or in your heart, because they will punish us. They are clinical. So we must play toe-to-toe, neck-to-neck with them. And if City to score goal or more than goal in our net, it has to be best creative play for them, not Ramsdale committing an error or Partey giving the ball or missing Haaland in 1 or 2 balls. So also, I think counter-attacking wise, we must hurt them. Definitely. Especially Martinelli and Saka, who must play on the speed and dribbling and power and pace for Saka and Martinelli and Gabriel Jesus. I think this game, Gabriel Jesus must make for his wasted chances in the last matches, especially against Southampton. He could have a hat-trick. So I think it's a unique match also for Zini and for Jesus. And Jesus didn't play the first match, he was injured. So we hope that these great occasions, these big occasions, enables us to see Jesus the clinical that we didn't see until now. He's a great player, he's a hard worker, he's a fighter. Okay, his link-up play is very good, but he must score more goals. He must be more clinical. Yeah. So I think we must fight. We must not fear them. And in the end, we will see the result. We hope that we will have a dream day at the Etihad, that all of our players, we see them in their top form, defensively and offensively. It's difficult, but it may happen. Okay, City in a high form. They are a complete team. Defensively, they are very good. Depth-wise, okay, they are better than us because we have cliche in Arabic that yesterday, tomorrow is like yesterday. Because if you compare last season, we have many injuries that prevented us from being top 4. This season, we said that Saliba and Tomiyasu injury in the defensive shape of us affected us. So depth-wise, we are not like them.
Yeah, exactly that. And that's well said there, Mohammed. And I just want to wrap this up now by asking everyone's thoughts on how this game is going to pan out. What is your prediction and what do you want to see? Mohammed, you explained what you said really well then on the key points of the game. I thought that was excellent. And it's been a really good calling show. So I'm really happy to do this. And I can't wait to do this again and talk with you guys more about Arsenal or other football as well, because I know we all watch plenty of the teams. So we'll start off with you, Wilf, then we'll go for Manny, and then UV, and then we'll end with Mohammed there. So Wilf, predictions for tomorrow. How is this going to pan out?
Right. If we turn up and we play without fear and we don't make our mistakes and stuff, I think 3-1 to us. And then it's game on. I see Martinelli scoring. I see Odegaard stepping up. I mean, Odegaard, Partey, everybody needs Jesus. Totally agree with what Mohammed said about Jesus needed to be more clinical. But if our main players step up, 3-1 to us.
Interesting. What about you for this, Manny?
Yeah, I suppose I'll probably have to follow the trend and say what I hope will happen in my heart, but in my head, what I believe will happen. In my heart, I am hoping for a defensive masterclass, especially if Tierney will be starting. We stifle City, we frustrate them, and then we sneak a 2-1 win. But in my head, I know that Arteta will stick to what he knows. He'll play Zinchenko at left back. We will certainly try their best, but City who have the ability to either play aggressively or on the counter will probably soak up pressure from us, hit us on the counter just like they did at the Emirates, and it could very well be the same 3-1 scoreline. No clean sheet for either goalkeeper, but more importantly, sadly, it must be said, I think City might end up winning. But football's a funny old game. We have to hope for the best, eh?
Absolutely. I understand that way of thinking as well. There, Manny, don't you worry. UV, what about yourself? Come on, you're surrounded by Arsenal fans here. You know what the answer is.
I might go 3-1 City. I just think they have too much. I think if you do turn up, it would be 2-2, but I think they have too much quality, and I think it'll be the same exact score as the first time you played. 3-1 City.
3-1. I hear you on that. I'd personally take a 2-2 draw. I know Will said he hasn't, but would you, Manny? Would you take a draw as well?
I probably would. Preferably, I think we should go for the win, but at least a draw means that it's still going to be tight, because by the end of this game, City will still have played 2 games less than us, and they still have to win their 2 games in hand, which means that all we can do is just keep controlling what we can control and make sure we keep it tight. Preferably, a win would be the better option, just as a win was the best option against Liverpool, but. I suppose a draw under the circumstances would not be bad. It is not going to be easy to come to the Etihad and win, although Brentford have done it. Maybe we should take inspiration from them.
Yeah.
I think you need a win. I just think because your schedule looks hard coming up, Newcastle away, I can't see you guys winning. Brighton, I think you'll beat. Chelsea, you'll probably beat, but I think that Newcastle away game, you need to have some confidence going into. It's just, I think you need to win. I think a draw. Considering your form, but then again, looking at your schedule, a draw's not good because you need to win. Well, if you could have beaten Southampton, it would have been more helpful, but you didn't. So, I think you need to win. It's just not a draw's not good enough. You need to win.
Mohamed. What was you going to say, Manny?
No, I was just saying that you're absolutely right. That Southampton result was an absolute choker, and we needed a win from that, and that could very well be the game we look back on and say, you know what, that cost us. That and quite a few others, I won't lie.
Mohamed, first of all, would you take a draw? But why do you think it's going to end tomorrow?
Yes, Derek. Of course, I will take a draw. Analyzing our form in the last 3 matches and analyze City form in recent weeks, and there is difference between our hope. We hope to win, we dream to win, and the difference between the reality, form-wise, in general, defensive stability here and there. So it's difficult not to see City scoring against us, to be realistic. Conceding 7 goals in the last 3 matches for us, not good, not good record. And to go into the Etihad, maybe saying to ourselves that City will not score against us is difficult, I think, to believe. So the heart said thing, our brain said another thing. So I agree with you. I'll take 2-2. My heart said this, but if I think it and realize it and analyze it football-wise, I think City is nearer than us for the victory. So they will score, unfortunately, concerning their clinical and their top attacking form and our shaky defensive form recently. So City are the favorite, but as I said to you, we must fight, we must not fear, must not be silly like the first match at the Emirates. We were better for 60 minutes, but we gave them gifts for the 3 goal. And Man City don't have don't need from Arsenal or from another team any gift, because they will punish you at any error. So just this one point for me for yesterday, Tarek, not to give away any gift or any error. Let them score at their top level if they can. Okay, De Bruyne to Haaland and they score. Okay, but not to give away any silly mistakes midfield and at the back, and at the same time to be clinical at every chance for us. So we pray, we hope, we must fight, and we will take the result. And we back our team till the end of the season, of course.
That comes back to my point. The first 20 minutes are key. If you don't concede, that'll be good. If you do, then I just think City will control. You can't, if you can concede the first goal back, if it's in the first 10 or 20 minutes, I just think City will control. You can't concede in the first 20 minutes. That's the key.
I understand totally, and I think that's well said, guys. Because if we were looking into it, going into 89, if you take us all the way back and we're doing a stream, YouTube's around, going into 89 after Arsenal drew and lost to Derby and Wimbledon, one of those games being at home against Liverpool. Liverpool, who were just as good, if not better, than Manchester City at that time, dominating the Premier League, just like how Manchester City have that hold. Going away to Anfield, we know how difficult that is. There's a reason why they got that reputation, and it's because of how they dominated the 80s. But Arsenal turned up, one game left to go, had to win by 2 clear goals and done it. And this is what I got to say to Arsenal fans. Remember the chant that we sing, that gave birth this season? We won the league at Anfield, we won it at the Lane, Stamford Bridge, Old Trafford. No one can say the same. Can we add potentially the Etihad to our list?
I think, Derek, if you permit me just half a minute, regardless of the result, I think we must say it's extraordinary, fantastic season for our team, for Arteta, for the players. They gave us a lot of happiness, fantastic results. So, of course, if we lose the title, we will be disappointed. But I think we have done well this season to build on this for next season and the seasons to come, and to continue making our team more complete by adding more top signing, especially in midfield, because I think this area is worrying. This area we must add at least 2 top players, number 6 and number 8, to compete, and not to worry when Partey is not good form, a bad form, or Partey is absence, or Jorginho is not at his level, and then people to analyze. No, we need top midfield. Look at City, at their midfield. So we must improve. We must make this team more complete, not to be affected, Tarek, at any injuries. Saliba or Tomiyasu or Partey. This is, I think, the main target to go to the next level and to fight till the end, not 28 matches to be at the top and think City will take the driving seat at the last 10 matches. No, if you want to win the league, you must be complete, because you are fighting against this complete team, City, which will be more stronger next season if they added Bellingham and Guardiola. So next summer it's crucial, of course.
And I think the negativity doesn't help either. From your own fans as well. Your own fans are actually writing off as well, and the players will get that confidence. And probably you need to. I think Arsenal fans need to be more not positive. You can't be positive, but like have more support. Like you're just writing your team. You're writing your own team off, man. Like, you need to have more belief.
You gotta have. You can criticize. That's totally fine. And you can do that, because I'll do that when it's necessary. But we support the team. Anyway.
For sure.
Definitely. But guys, we got to wrap this up here. Really appreciate you all for the time that you've taken to come on and call in and share your opinions. I really do appreciate it. Wilf, we'll start off with you. Let the people know where they can find you as well, and final word.
Right. Well, thanks to you. On my little tab, you can see where I am on Twitter. And I'll be in the Discord, and there's this brother called Tariq. I do a show with him called The Arsenal Show. You might catch me on there once or twice. But I love being on. It's not my usual show, but I had to jump in, and it's been a pleasure being on with all you guys. And big up to everybody in the chat that's still here. And come on, you Gooners, man. We're going to do it. I still believe we're going to take this title.
Absolutely. Really appreciate that there, my bro. Manny, really appreciate you having you on as well. It's been a while since we've been able to chop it up, but really do appreciate you taking your time. Let the people know where they can find you and your final word as well.
Yeah, first of all, big up to you, Tariq. Thanks for having me on. And as you said, it has been a long time, and I hope we will get to catch up again on another stream soon. Until then, let's just keep doing what we're doing, keep supporting the team. And with regard to social media, you can catch me at Manny Thangadurai 1981 on Instagram and Thangadurai 1981 on Twitter. So you see, it's my full name and my year of birth and my surname and my year of birth. You can see it in the tabs over there. Spell it like you say it like you spell it. And you can catch me on several other channels on YouTube, mainly other Arsenal fan channels. Shout out to Del Boy Gunner TV, S. Featley TV. Obviously, my under tab says RIP Stephen, gone too soon, but we will be looking to reactivate the channel again soon and keep his legacy and impact alive. Hopefully that will happen. Oris Talks Football, Coach's Corner, Tony Claude Gunner TV, Danny AFC TV. Shout out as well to Up the Cherries in All Departments, which is the Bournemouth fan channel. You can catch me doing their cherry picking show as more of a neutral, someone who obviously has something to say and adds something there. AFC Talk Show TV with Mason Khan, MK the Don, and several other channels which I can't really think of at this point, but I will send you a check in the post. My final word here is that I've actually, if you take a look at my Twitter bio, I am Arteta out, and I don't really think that he is the manager who will take us forward. But this season, I am willing to, back him and try and encourage him to build on the sort of progress he's made, although I will say he has had long enough time, certainly longer than Unai Emery was afforded. And he has to make sure that he learns from his own mistakes and evolves well as a manager, because, you're only as good as your next game, and no player or manager should rest on his laurels from days gone by. You have to keep evolving, you have to keep improving, and Arteta has a lot of evolution and improvement to do. But at the same time, I do hope that Arsenal will succeed, and I hope to dedicate this triumph, if it happens, to Stephen, always and forever a mate and a brother. Miss him more than we would know. And once again, thanks a lot, Tariq, for bringing me on. Sorry I came in late. Good luck to the Gunners tomorrow. Enjoy the game. Don't do anything that the five of us wouldn't do. Big up to everyone in the chat as well. You're the ones who make this video what it is. And for now, I bid you all adieu.
Appreciate you, Manny. And as that final word was there on Stephen as well, definitely. That's how me and Manny got to meet up and we got to build. So massive, so RIP to Stephen each and every time. Never forgotten as well and gone too soon. But UV, big up yourself, my brother. Thank you for joining on again as the neutral in this game, literally, because you've been competing with Manchester City so many times, and you've been in these types of games where everything's been on the line. And yeah, you won one Premier League in that time, but not as many as you'd like. But let the people know where they can find you and your final word.
You don't need to find me anywhere. Just thanks for having me on the channel. Hopefully, I'll be on the next call-in show whenever that is. But yeah. See, we got a game tomorrow versus West Ham. I'm not gonna be focusing on that game as much, and I should be actually. But I'm actually watching this game more. So I'm gonna be watching the Arsenal game mostly. But yeah, come on, you Reds. Let's hope we can beat West Ham away. So yeah, I thank you for having me on the channel.
No worries. Thank you once again. And Mohammed, really appreciate you as well. Let the people know where they can find you as well.
Yes, Tariq, at Muhammad Iraqi 10 on Twitter, where I share my views mainly about Arsenal. And finally, I want to say about tomorrow's match. It's a huge match. Okay, we're playing against maybe the best side in Europe now for my city. And I would say to our fans, if we won or draw or will have positive result, okay. Let's get it and continue work until the end of the season. If God forbids the result is not good and we lose, we must not lose any faith in this young, fantastic team. After City, we have 5 difficult, important matches. We must fight. We must end the season in a confidence high level to end our work in this season and to close the page and to look for next season maybe and hopefully to continue reinforcing this team to fight for all the titles. So I fully trust this team, fully trust Mikel, not from now, you know me, Tarek, from a year ago or more than a year, 1 year ago, maybe 2 years, and especially in the difficult moments and negative results. I said that Mikel will transform this team, but he needs time because he inherited a mess. And I think this season, regardless of where we finished first or second, I think this season is a success, and must back our players, back this team to fight, to gain success, and to give happiness to all our fans. And big up Tarek, big up guys, big up Gunners.
Thank you very much. Guys, we are going to wrap it up here. Love and leave you. Don't forget to drop a like on this video. Follow the guys on the social and give us your predictions in the comments and everything else. Take care and we're out. Peace.